Welcome to Reel 45 with Stefan and Greg Hancock. We vibe out and have real talk, so tune in and check this out. Yeah, today is a new day. Let's seize it now and get hype. We talking about our careers, our family, and just life. Yeah, share my story with you. Inspiration like every day. Reel 45, we gon' keep it live. I keep episodes on replay. Hey, Reel 45. Yeah, Reel 45. Show them how we do it, man. Yeah.
Hey everybody, this is the latest episode, number 21 of the Reel45 Podcast. We want to welcome everybody to the show. Thanks for listening, of course. For us, we're trying to grow this thing daily and make it something worthwhile. So I want to say, first of all, a big shout out to our friends and our partnership with the Titans of Dirt. We really appreciate having these guys on our side here, helping us to push the podcast. And they've been massive with their video and all their social media links that they've been putting out there. So thanks to you guys. Be sure to follow those guys on Facebook, Titans of Dirt. And let's move on. I want to say good morning or good afternoon or good evening to my good buddy and my partner in this game, Stefan Janelle. Hey, Stefan.
Hey, good evening. It's quite dark out there.
That's kind of hard for us to say. We're sorry that you live on the dark side.
Always. Yeah,
we're just bright and, classic Americans over here. Everything's fine. Everything's wonderful.
It's perfect.
Yeah, life's good. How are you?
It's good.
It's really good. What have you been doing the last week?
Working, been renovating the girls' room. It's done. I'm ready today.
Literally?
Yeah.
So you're the jack of all trades. You can do it all?
I can. At least I can try.
Does your wife like it when you walk around the house with a tool belt and take your shirt off and stuff?
Professional,
Yeah, well, I know how professional you are. I mean, it's you don't do anything sort of half-arsed.
Nah, I won't. But I have my mom and dad, so they help me out with electrics and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool because you don't want to burn the place down or something.
No, I don't want to do that.
That's cool. So the girls are pretty stoked too because their rooms are all done and dusted and ready for the springtime.
Yeah, so that's really good. And you?
But like suddenly you guys have gotten out of the blue hit with heavy minus temperatures, a lot of snow. The pictures I've been seeing from you and from a lot of the others over there, you got like this late blast of winter. What's that all about?
I have no idea, but I got quite a blast because I haven't been to Stockholm. So I just read on the news, the traffic has been really bad, I think. The trucks are hitting each other and they are standing over because now it's really slippery on the roads. And it's snowing every day almost. So, and I think it's minus 12 degrees right now.
Man, minus 12 Celsius. What is that in Fahrenheit? Is that like?
I have no idea.
That must be like in the low teens or something. That's cold, right? Oof. Anyway, don't look out. I know that this is just a podcast, so people are going to hear us. They can't see outside the window, but my guest sitting next to me, he's got shorts on.
He has?
I got shorts on.
Oh. I had to do like you said. I stand in the middle of the pants.
You do? Don't touch the sides.
Exactly.
Because it's going to be cold, man. So just stand right in the middle.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that? You stand in the middle of your pants. So when it's really cold outside, because when you do that way your skin doesn't touch your pants. So you don't get cold. So you stand right in the middle. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that brings us to our special guest today, or guests, I should say. Let's welcome the youth of the current period and the future of American Speedway right here, Mr. Sebastian Palmese.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on the podcast.
Should we throw a clap? Yeah. All right. Well, you're the first guy to get an applause.
Thank you. Wow.
And sitting on the other side is his great representative and his not just a family member, but a big supporter of this kid. And he's there to broadcast everything great about Sebastian, but he's pretty good about that himself. As Tanny, his grandfather, Tanny.
Hello, everybody.
Tanny. Yeah, good to have Tanny on the show. This he's an inspiration for a lot of us. He's a cool guy. He's got Italian roots, so we've even been treated to some good food at his place already. So we're pretty stoked. And then we've got a silent listener here on the podcast. The first time he's been on our podcast, and he's actually just kind of listening. We're not sure if he's going to talk today or not, but my oldest son and quite the admirer of our podcast and a big critic, Mr. Wilbur Hancock.
Hey, Wilbur.
I will try to talk. I'm very talkative. That's all I can say. Thanks for having me, and it's great.
It's cool. I mean, we don't know what the future holds for Wilbur, but I think from all his video vlogging and his social media, you can see he's kind of a speedway guy. He likes to get sideways.
Sort of.
So there's, he's sitting next to his mentor, Sebastian, here too. So anyway, let's keep this ball rolling here. And Sebastian Palmese, this kid is, we have a lot to say about him. He is the future. There's a few others here in the U.S. that are kind of a little bit older than him, and there's some that are younger than him. There's Colton Hicks, who's been his biggest competitor and probably the biggest speed bump in his racing campaign. But he's done pretty good to get over that speed bump pretty quick these last couple of years. And Sebastian is kind of, to everybody in the world of speedway here in the USA, he's like the kid that everybody in the sport, in the pits, they idolize him. He's like the biggest love. He's super humble. He's helpful. He's great. He's got all the ingredients, man. It's just amazing. And
wow.
No, yeah, you see it, and
yeah. How
I'm trying to put him on a pedestal.
Thank you, Greg.
I'm putting him really high up on the pedestal, but he's earned it, man. He's unreal. I look at him and I'm literally fascinated with what he's done. He's first of all, I've been short my whole life. Okay, I'm 47 years old, and this kid is 14, and he's already got me by, I don't know, 5-6 inches in height.
Oh.
And he's a big kid, but he's super, what do you want to say? He's super over mature for his age, I think, in my opinion. He's got it all figured out. He's got all the ingredients, and I'm shocked. And my kid looks up to him massively. I should say my kids look up to him like they did. I mean, Luke's been on the show and a lot of the other guys, but Sebastian is that closer in age to them. But when I talk to him, I can't talk to him like I'm talking to a 14-year-old. I don't look at him like a 14-year-old. And his conversations are amazing. It's just, this kid can go places, and he's not just a great speedway rider, as I've heard from both of his dad and from his grandfather here too. This guy can swing a golf club. So
cool. I have maybe a strange question and a bit a sideway of it, but as you said, if you've been short all your life and Sebastian is a bit taller than you, is that a good thing when you ride a speedway bike, or not to being tall, or is it better to be short?
Better to be shorter, definitely. That's one of Greg's advantages, obviously, in the GPs and everything. But if you're taller, you gotta you first of all, you have more weight, unless you're super scrawny, and then I don't know. Better to be shorter.
But you don't have different sizes on the bikes, don't you? It's the same size of all the frames.
Yes. Besides the handlebars, maybe that's the only thing you can really change. And the seat.
You can adjust it to your height and your type of riding style with your handlebar preferences, whether you have a standard speedway bar, which is a little bit lower profile and rolls back a little bit, so you can stay in the bike. Mm-hmm. Where guys like Sebastian, he's a little bit taller kid. He's got quite a bit of width between his shoulders too, so he can run with a different kind of handlebar. However, he chooses to run with the similar bar that we have, which I'm impressed with. However, I looking at him now, I'm thinking, man, maybe he's pretty tall, and it's just he's doing everything he can to stay small on the bike. And I mean, he's a kid. He's growing. He's he probably eats like a horse, you know, and he's just solid, you know. But the guy can ride a motorcycle, and maybe he needs a little bit more power in the engines just to keep him rolling. But that's not a problem these days.
Cool.
Super cool. So,
and you're just 14.
Yes, sir.
14. Yeah.
14.
And the guy's, I mean, he's already got 2 junior speedway national championships the last 2 years. He's the current junior speedway champion. He's got, I mean, I'm looking at his roster of championships over the years now. And I mean, going back to his 150 championships in 2013 and 14, state championships, junior silver cup champion, you know, all of our championship national races that you have over here. And all the way up from the 150s to the 250s. And who knows where he's going to go in this. But have you ridden a 500 yet?
Never.
Never, ever. I know we've had this conversation.
We have.
I'll keep wondering.
Haven't done it yet.
Told me.
Mm-mm.
No.
We're almost there.
Never ridden one.
Ah.
And
why?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's probably a good thing in one way, because once he gets on the 500, he won't want to ride his 250 anymore.
I'm not gonna like the 250 again.
It's gonna be pretty amazing to watch, but it's gonna be. I like this guy, and he's got big things going. But let's turn this over to him. I mean, you're 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you grow up? Where are you?
South Orange County area. I mean, I've moved around from Long Beach to Mission Viejo. That's basically it. So I lived in Ukaipa when I was little with my mom. Then I moved in with my dad. So now been staying in Mission Viejo.
Right on. So, have you been into any other kind of sports? Have you been into any baseballs or footballs?
No, I never really played ball sports as a kid. I was always in love with motorcycles, between motocross and speedway and anything with a motor.
And were you more motocross in the beginning, or have you been both kind of going?
No, I never, I've ridden on motocross tracks, but I never raced. But my first bike was a PW50. So I started off, and I had a 50, then 70, and started off like that, and we rode in the desert. And then that's actually how it starts off by me riding speedway. Was I rode Pee-wees out of Costa Mesa. And that's where it went.
So he's been turning left from an early age.
Wow.
This kid's got he's got it made. He's got all the roots. He's built to be a speedway rider. So if we look back on that, then if you've grown up riding speedway, did your dad ride speedway too?
No, never did.
Never been involved.
He watched, but never rode.
Was he a motorcycle rider himself?
Yeah, he used to race motocross. He started off in BMX and then raced motocross and then watched speedway, and I took it over.
What about Tanny sitting here? Have you been into motorcycles yourself, or?
No, when you put a motor between my legs on 2 wheels, I have a certain apprehension. 4 wheels, I'm okay. 2 wheels, no. Bicycles, okay. Jason, Sebastian's father, was a BMX champion. So it kind of went from there. And then he started riding motorcycles. And then they went to Costa Mesa. And Sebastian can probably tell that story, about how that happened.
Okay, but Jason, before we go on to that, so he was a BMX champion.
He was a BMX champion until his knees were hurt, and then he couldn't go on. But he used to race 11 times a week when he was like 9 and 10 years old, and he was #1 rider in California, #2 rider in the nation. So he's a champion, and his son is a champion too.
That's right. So I know you've told me these stories about Jason. Jason
doesn't like to talk about it.
No, we actually have Jason in the house here too, and we can see that he's a little bit more shy, but he's got a pretty. That's Jason's dad. I mean, Sebastian's dad, Jason. There, so he's got a pretty interesting story, but he's a very humble guy and doesn't want to be the forefront of the kid's career, which is pretty cool in that way. But he's got his back all the way. So, I mean, 11 times a week racing BMX.
When he was 9 and 10 years old.
How did you do that in 7 days a week?
Well, we used to race Mondays down in Torrance, I think. Tuesdays, I don't remember where we raced on Tuesdays. And then Wednesdays, Orange. We used to also own our own track in Azusa. It was called USBMX. We used to race 3 times on Saturday. We'd go to Ukaipa, Norco, and Corona. And on Sunday, we would race Monrovia, Orange, and probably our own track. But it was a tough grind. And he was up to the task. He scored a lot of points. He was number 1. We like number 1 plates in our family.
I can hear that. Even in the kitchen.
Yeah. He never really turned into the pro. Our aim in BMX at the time was to have it as an Olympic sport. Eventually, it did become an Olympic sport many years later. It's not right now, but that was the goal of all the BMX riders back in the 80s, like that. So, yeah, so it's in the family.
Yeah, gotcha. That's so. Did you race any BMX yourself, Sebastian?
No, I rode BMX. My dad always took me to the track because he'd mess around riding the bikes, and then I would go out, but never. I loved motorcycles.
Gotcha. I remember actually one story. We were out at Dane Inman's birthday party at the Orange BMX track a few years back. And that was the first time I remember all the kids that are out on Kelly Inman, who's been on our podcast and is, one of the greatest dudes in the world. He used to rent the BMX track for his kid's birthday party.
Wow.
And so you'd have it for a couple hours in the day, and you'd come in there and everybody would just bring their bikes and their kids. It didn't matter if it was, they were on 2-wheel bikes or bikes with training wheels or kick bikes or whatever. Everything was out there. And I remember seeing this older kid coming on a more of a cruiser bike, ripping the track and pumping the track and doing the jumps and doing everything. And I'm like, who is that guy? And it was Jason, it was Sebastian's dad, out there with all the kids just tearing it up. And I was so impressed that I got to get me one of those, And we were taking our kids out there to ride, and I would just pedal around with them. But I thought, dang, that guy can ride. That makes me want to do it, So it was pretty fun to see it. And even though he's got bad knees, you can see that the kid is still at heart in that man, and he loves to get out there and tear it up. So it's probably, you get to a point where you always put the brakes on, but he's probably thinking, I know I could do it. I can get over that.
Oh, that's cool.
But tell us a story about how you went from the BMX to the Speedway that you were talking about when you brought him to Costa Mesa Speedway.
No. Jason and Sebastian used to go.
Yeah, I was young. I was riding my little PW50. We'd always go out to the desert, and him and his buddies went to Costa Mesa and just watched Speedway. And then he saw little 50s out there, and he was like, "Why not?" So he just threw me out on the track, and I saw the Speedway riders go out and ride and everything. And I just kept riding Pee-wees. And then finally, for Christmas, he knew that I wanted to ride Speedway because I had told him. He got my first Speedway bike, which was a little McDougal 150, and then it all went from there.
How old were you then?
I first started racing Speedway in March 2010, and I would have been 7 years old.
Cool.
It feels, in one way, there's a similar story in my family growing up. I grew up, my parents were separated too, so it was really until my parents separated is when we started going to Speedway with my dad. When we were with him on every other weekend, we would go with him. And from a pretty young age, 7 years old, I had my first bike, running around the grandstands and checking it out and just,
seeing all the riders in the pits and everything.
Getting autographs, and it was rad. I just remember the smell and it getting hosed down with dirt in corners because you're running around playing underneath the grandstands and collecting beer cups and looking for people that dropped their wallet or their keys. And that's how we made money back in the days.
Ah.
But it's Speedway from day one. It's a good place. So
At the time, in fact, when Jason brought Sebastian to actually race, Sebastian wore Jason's old BMX gear. That was pretty cool too.
See,
it gets passed down.
Yeah, so there's an element of it.
Yeah,
he's a part of it. Do you consider yourself kind of a wild kid? Were you a wild kid? Were you pretty just mellow?
I mean, like, what do you mean? Like in school or like Speedway?
In general, were you a crazy kid?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yeah. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I do a lot of things. I'm not scared. Like, I'm not fearless, but I'm also not like a scaredy cat, But I wouldn't say wild, but like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it.
I mean,
Not afraid.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Not afraid.
No, not
Not afraid. No.
If Bill was sitting here, he'd be like, so would you do a backflip on the ground?
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't do that, but Bill would say that.
Yeah.
The amount of times he's pushed me to try to do a backflip and like, do it on ground, because I finally said, fine, I'll do it. And I went to this trampoline park and asked one of the people that worked there, teach me backflip. And I learned it in one day. And after that, I was like, hey, Bill, look, I can do a backflip. And then he gets like, oh, can you do it on ground?
Yeah.
And I was like, nope.
Tries to push everybody to do a backflip on the ground. He can't even do one himself.
Nope.
You can now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you weren't wild and crazy in that way, but you were. Yeah, there was an element of. You could be tempted into something.
Mhm.
Dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
Would you do the dare
Of the backflip?
or anything? Would you just somebody dare you? Do you go for it?
Yeah. If within my capabilities, if I
Calculated.
knew I could, yeah.
That's
When
cool.
you got your first speedway bike, how was it when you tested it the first time?
Crazy, because it was totally different. I was used to riding little 50s, I was used to riding motocross bikes with like big bars, my feet are on the pegs and everything. And then the first time I ever went out, which was at Pirate Speedway, actually back then it was called IMS, but it was just a new experience basically. It was like after a few practices I got used to the bike, just going two-wheeling around the turns and everything. And then after a while I could start sliding to like half the turn and then just keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. And then eventually I could do the whole track with sliding and then just get faster and faster.
Cool.
It's a drug, Stefan. As soon as you throw your legs over that, you get that vibration between the legs. It's like,
Uh-huh.
and it sticks with you for like 47 years,
Oh.
or maybe 45 years.
Maybe.
So, what about? Girlfriends?
Yes,
You got?
I actually do have a girlfriend.
You have? Have girls always been? You had a lot of girlfriends, or
No.
No. Okay.
Not like
That's
all
good
over me.
answer.
Like,
He's only
no.
14.
I know. That's what I mean. I see you look at him. You don't see him as a 14-year-old.
No. It's like a 19-year-old.
So girls and racing, does it work out okay for you?
Yeah, but never in the pits. They're always like my girlfriend knows, she's not gonna go to the pits with me. She's not gonna bother me because I'm in my race mode and everything. So, but she's supportive. She knows I like to teach her all the stuff about it. And
Did she know about Speedway before you got together with her, or no?
no, she didn't. I had to explain the whole entire thing, show her videos and everything.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did you always know, like growing up, everybody always says, girls and racing doesn't work or whatever. That always gets in the way. And you're like, it works.
Yeah.
You can make it work. Why do they make this myth up? You just gotta,
Has she been to a live race yet? This
Gumball.
week will be the first one?
Gumball.
The gumball?
Right. So we'll have to send the Reel45 cameras in to follow her around for the day and
Yes.
capture all the moments. And we'll put it on that'll be the clip before we launch it.
Mhm.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it'll be
Paparazzi.
this podcast will be,
That's his job.
I guess, released right before the gumball, or I think the gumball weekend, that Friday after school, it's like the adrenaline starts pumping. For me, it's like, okay, I'm ready. I want to win. It's like, it's the most amazing feeling.
Can't wait.
No, that's right. That kind of brings us into it.
Yeah.
This kid's already got 2 national championships in the junior speedway world.
It's 4.
4 national championships.
The 2 250s and 2 150s.
Okay, with the 150s too, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so 150, both like that. So this guy's already a veteran. He's got quite a roster of championships to his name. So his future could be huge, and we really hope so. I think it will be anyway. But to win the national championship in the 150 class and then in the 250 class, similar feeling? Was there any? What?
No, actually, to be honest, I would say the 150s was a lot better because it was I actually won the first 150 national championship, like the first legal national championship. That was probably the best feeling ever because one, it's just winning a national championship, obviously, and then another is I was the very first winner to win it, and so that obviously made it a lot cooler and more exciting. So it was different, but still both. I was happy, obviously, and excited and proud of myself, and that I rode my hardest and I had fun.
And what year was that? The first
2013.
2013 was the first year of the official 150 championship. So when I grew up, we had a junior speedway national.
Mm-hmm.
There was no classes. There was nothing. It was pretty much run what you brung.
Yeah.
You know, if you had a 125 or you had a 250, there was, you know, I mean, that's a big difference in CCs and speed. Yet the tracks are so small here. So if a guy popped out of the start in front of you, it was pretty hard to pass him, you know, because he could just cover the line. But these days they have classes, which is really cool. Yeah. So now you give from the peewee kids on the 50 cc's up to the 125s, up to the 250s, and then you go up to the 500s. It's pretty impressive.
They're also bringing like Division 1, Division 2 to the junior class too, like the 150s. Yeah. They don't have it that much with the 250s, but 150s there's Division 1, Division 2.
Yeah, this is my second year riding Division 1.
On the 150
yeah,
class.
150s, exactly.
See, it's pretty impressive when you think about it. That shows that there's quite a roster of riders coming up, and that's growing fast, huh? And we've almost seen a little bit of a dip over the last year or so, right, in the youth for whatever reason. But there was, in Sebastian's era, a lot of kids were coming up. It was just getting bigger and bigger. There were so many kids, and then moving up from the 150 class to the 250 class, you were starting to see the transition, but there were still a lot of kids following. And then it feels like there's been a little bit of a gap there because some of you, the guys, are moving up to 500s too, and there's not enough kids to fill the natural progression. So they got to kind of go back and start this whole growth process once again.
Now there's tons of riders in the 150 class, but they're not old enough to go to the 250 class, but all the 250 riders are old enough to go to 500s.
Yeah.
So now the 250 class is getting lower, the 150 class is getting higher.
Gotcha. So there's kind of a lack of riders on the 250s right now, especially like last year, Sebastian and Colton Hicks went over and raced the youth FIM youth championship to be a part of the world championship, to be a part of that. So they were chosen for those two. And then there are a couple of other guys. These are definitely our two best guys, I think, at the time, I believe. And there are a lot of other ones following up. So they went over there and kind of set the standard, showed everybody that we are a force to be reckoned with for the future. And this guy's only 14. So he's got 2 more years to take a shot at it.
Oh, that's cool. Greg, how old were you when you won your first national?
I won it when I was 15. It was my last year of junior speedway before I had to go to the 500s. So I was happy that I at least won one. And that was the first year that I had an actual 250 Westlake at the time. That was a 350 engine that was cut down to a 250.
Sleeve down.
And it was the best thing ever. It was so fun, so much easier to ride. It was everything. I had a great bike, a chassis that was given to me by the great Bruce Penhall, and so I was super stoked. So I had it pretty much rolled out. My dad probably financed everything, you know. But anyway, I got it, and I won the championship that year. And I had 1 gumball championship too. So I got 1 gumball and 1 national championship. Now gumballs.
Right. Tell us about gumball.
Let's talk about gumballs. I mean, everybody knows what a gumball is, right?
Yeah.
0. Racing 7 gumball rallies. Haven't won one of them. Something always happens. That's not my race.
No, you've never won.
This year will be your race.
I hope so. Next weekend, I'm trying my hardest.
It's on.
So you won't hope for it. You will just win it.
So what's that?
Don't hope for it. Just do it.
That's my goal.
Have you ever won a gumball, Stefan?
Yeah, I want to win one, but I think I'm too old.
I mean, do you guys have gumballs in Sweden too?
Oh yes, tuggummi.
Tuggummi. I can't wait to win the tuggummi.
No.
I mean, I can win a gumball by going out in the street and picking up a quarter and putting it in the gumball machine, and I won a gumball.
But you don't have a whole gumball machine.
No.
That's where you win, actually.
Yeah, that's what you win. You win a whole gumball machine full with gumballs. So we're talking like this gumball machine is literally, I feel that the kids put more effort into winning a gumball machine than they did winning the national championship.
Probably.
So this guy's, and the national championship is what we all want to win. Yeah. But when you start talking gumballs,
it's such like plus it's towards like the kids, you know, it's all like Kelly Inman promotes it, which he's awesome with the junior speedway, and he gives everything to the kids. That's like basically our race. It's the gumball rally. We all want to win one.
Yeah.
He's so great at doing it because he promotes it so well, and even if you don't win, you still get an awesome goodie bag full with goggles, gloves. There's that mini gumball machines, even though you didn't win one. It's awesome.
This gumball rally is, I mean, people are already talking about it a lot. They've been talking about it for quite a few weeks. But it's such a big buildup to this gumball rally for all the kids. It's kind of a nationwide thing. Kids come from all over the place if there are kids available and they can make the trip out this time of year. But so much effort goes into it. It becomes a weekend because they actually have a race on the 500s the night before, and they have a practice session, and people end up camping out with their campers, and it turns out to be a pretty big event. So, and it's so much emphasis, and the kids, you can just see the nerves building, you know, and they're getting so excited for this gumball thing, and they put so much effort into it, and the day is a pretty long day on the Sunday, and it's but when that final race comes down on the 250s for the final win, and then it's all over, you know, and everybody goes home, it's almost like, oh no, it's a whole another year to wait for the gumball. It's almost like a downer. Well, I guess we get to race the season now, you know, and then they get on moving on. But
it's a preseason race. It's not in the middle of the season. It's perfect for us because we're not here otherwise. And gumball's definitely my favorite. After winning it the first time in 2013, I just want to do it again because I know you won it once, and I want to be the guy that can beat his dad in gumball championships.
See, everybody's got to have goals and dreams, and don't do it like me. Do it bigger and better.
It's amazing.
It is. And the gumball rally, like you said, we can talk about this all day, but when we talk about the kids, the way we've been doing all this, I mean, a lot of the guys that we've been interviewing over in the podcast too are guys that have been moving up. They've all been through the gumball rally. And this day, like Kelly promotes it so well, and it's kind of, it goes way back, but they create these, they get sponsorship for the event, and everything goes back to the kids. So they raise money from sponsors, from people that just donate. They get prizes, they get aerosols like lubricants, you'll get goggles, you'll get helmets, you'll get remote control cars, gift cards, you name it. And they end up with these great big plastic bags. And we're talking like, how many kids are there on a day? Is there 50 kids or more?
50 probably, 60 kids.
So we're talking 50 of these goodie bags that are stacked with goodies. My kids want to race on that day. You know, like Bill, he doesn't race all year. He wants to race the gumball because he wants a goodie bag. So, and those goodie bags are worth, I mean, we're talking a couple $100 of goods. And then there's envelopes with cash in them. What did Colton won last year, right? Didn't he win like
60?
No. Gumball, there was no money last year won. That's Silver Cup.
Oh, was it Silver Cup?
He wins the Silver Cup.
Right. So anyway, they donate cash, and I mean, I know the kids still come home with cash at the gumball rally. And so if you're on the podium, the top three, they end up with cash in an envelope, which I always disagree with. The kids shouldn't get cash because I think that's wrong. But this is Kelly, because he says people put in money for the gumball rally, and sometimes I got all this cash, and what can I do with it? I can't buy more products for the kids, so I just put it all into a kitty, break it up into things, and just give the kids so they can go buy something for themselves. And he doesn't want to take any money for it, for sure, so it goes right back to the kids. Literally, what else do I do with it?
That's cool. It's really cool.
It's really cool. So it's all about the gumballs.
And that's next weekend.
Next weekend.
And there will be a live stream broadcast, and I'm not sure which channel they use it on, but usually if you look up industry racing on the internet,
it's on the website.
It's on their website.
Watch live.
It's cool. And it starts usually like, is it about midday, 12 o'clock or something?
Noon, yeah.
Noon Pacific Standard Time.
Gotcha. So that's like for Europe, or if you're in the UK, it'll be like 8 o'clock in the evening, 9 o'clock in Sweden. That this race will start. So if you're sitting home on a Sunday evening, you guys can tune in and watch this race, and it's a good 3-hour show pretty much. And
there's always good racing every heat.
It's great racing. They put on a great racetrack. There's usually quite a nice little following of fans, and the kids this year have done Valentine's for Valentine's Day. They, instead of giving out little Valentine's gifts, they did at Wilbur School. They did little special cards that were made with little gumball little gumballs that were stapled to them, and it's pretty cool. They gave them out to their kids at school, and it was a little free admission. It's free to get into the gumball rally, but they made little free admission tickets that they gave out to all their friends at school to try to get them to come to the gumball rally and support the event. So now he's got a few friends that are going to do it. So you want to add to that a little bit?
I want to say a big thanks to Gina Horn for doing that for us. It was a great idea.
That was really good. Yeah, I should say that too. Gina was fantastic putting those together, and she
buys
a lot of
gumballs
hours.
and
she researched.
Tapes the gumballs to the cards, and yeah, it was great.
Cool.
It's cool. There's a big list of kids that are going to be there. So tune in to watch this thing. It's pretty rad. It's pretty rad. So it's all about the gumball.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would like to touch a little bit on the 250 World Championship that you and Colton did last year.
Great event.
Really cool event. As it turned out, I was injured from my racing, so I had some time to sit and think and dwell on what could have been. At the same time, we started putting together this idea of our Hancock High that Raphael, my mechanic, and I had been talking about for a number of years. So we thought, let's put our plan into action now while we have the time. And we decided to start off. I've been supporting the youth program and with the FIM for a couple of years. So Raphael and I decided, let's go big in the 250 championship and support a couple of guys. Of course, I'm going to help the Americans. That's a no-brainer, you know. Mm-hmm. So we looked at the two guys who had entries, which was Sebastian sitting here and Colton Hicks. And I had already had conversations with these guys earlier in the winter, and Tanny and I had talked a number of times with Jason as well, and looked at various possibilities. What can we do to try to help support these guys in some way, so they don't just come over there and just trying to make it work and bring whatever equipment you can find and stuff like that. So we put together 3 bikes, and they made some arrangements to get some engines to put in the bikes. So we supplied chassis, our mechanics, our vehicles, all our tools and everything, and tried to make it as easy as possible for these guys so they could just get on the airplane with their gear bags and whatever necessities they needed to come over there and get a little bit of practice in that whole 250 camp. And for us, it was a huge learning curve because we knew nothing about the 250s. What we thought we knew, anyway, was went out of the window in the first practice session when we ended up with engines and the workout. Lots of failures and things that went for various reasons. But after a couple of days, we finally started to build a little bit of momentum. And we also hooked up with the Polish rider, Victor Lampart, who became, he was a last minute, team player that jumped in to be a part of it, because we thought we want to have a Polish guy to help too. And of course, Raphael, I got my American roots, Raphael had his Polish roots, and we knew Victor was in there too. But we have a pretty good chance to just make a stance in the championship, show that we can be a team. We've got nations that haven't won the world championship yet, so good chance with Victor and a great chance with Sebastian and Colton. And in the worst case, we just wanted them to be there and be in the mix. But we didn't have the best options available with trying to get the engine combinations right and learning about the ignition systems. And we can't say that we can't put down defaults to anything. It was basically a huge learning curve, which this year,
they were guinea pigs. That was the first year.
Big times, all of us, huh? Mm-hmm. What was that? What was it like for you to come to Europe it wasn't your first trip to Europe, but the first time to come there and actually compete?
It was amazing. It was so professional. Most professional race I've ever been in. It was just, we were riding on a world level, which was like my first, obviously, Colton's first. And it was just unbelievable. Like, just getting there was a great part. Like, I'm not going to say I didn't care about the racing, but like, obviously I was riding my hardest and I had a goal set and everything, but just to get there, just to ride with all those guys, all those like not famous, but like all those European guys riding over there, and it was just amazing trip.
A lot of these guys that you raced, I mean, one of the top guys was a Swede, Stefan, who was one of the favorites to win too, right? So
Philip Hellstrom.
yeah, Philip Hellstrom Banks, and then you had the Danish riders who ended up being amazing. Like the Scandinavians were so strong; they were so strong and impressive to watch. So did you know? And the Germans too, yeah, of course. There was German, there were some English kids.
Yeah.
The whole competition level was massive. So for me, it was the biggest eye-opener, and I had the biggest adrenaline rush because I was there helping the FIM for the whole program, but I had my heart with these two guys and the team. It was with Victor too. Like, of course, I want to see red, white, and blue standing on top because I'm like, gosh, we can do this. We can do this, you know? And then Victor came in from Poland. This kid is just like, he was like, these guys, they all gel. They never met each other, and they jump into this team together, and they were like the best of buddies, high fives, but, you know, hanging around, and they barely spoke the same language, and yet they got along great. And we just went, this is awesome. So you can really create a collaboration of dudes. And Victor's riding 500s. He's already killing it on 500 bikes. So he's riding the 250 like it's a peewee, you know. Just it was so simple. But we just didn't have the equipment that could put them at the next level. These guys rode their hearts out.
Yeah, and because of the internet, many of these riders knew each other. They all knew Sebastian and Colton coming in. Our pits were the most crowded pits. Everybody hung out there. And Wilbur was the PR guy.
He was a PR and our video, and it was like that too. There was a lot of people coming up. I think that was the best part about the 250 is because in the Grand Prix and in the world class racing, everybody's, you know, we're all friends and whatever, but when it comes to race time, you're like, dang, you're in your corners, you know, it's like serious, super serious. It is like that on the 250, but it didn't matter. After heat was over, the guys were over in each other's pits and high fives and hugs, and you're just like, this is what it's all about, right? It's just when we put our helmets on and we get to that, as soon as we enter the track, that's game on.
Yeah.
But when the race was over, it was everything, knuckles, and it was so cool. But I mean, did you know your competition before you got there? Like you said, did you check these dudes out on the net? Did you?
I didn't like know them obviously, but like I knew some of the Swedish guys. I knew Philip, and I knew the English guys because I'd already met all of them. And then I knew some of the Australians like Bailey and Keenan. Obviously Keenan because he's pretty high up in Australia, but none of like the Scandinavians or Finland or any of those. But just like,
It was pretty fun though to watch in that training camp. It has a couple of days as they were getting ready for the championship. There's a lot of practice and a lot of working with the kids, and to see even Selena, the German girl too, she was unbelievable. Like this girl was mixing it with the guys, and probably one of the most daredevil riders on the circuit. So she was riding her butt off, chasing people, and she thought there's nowhere to go, so I have to try this. And it felt like she had the handlebars that she could just bend down to go, so she could fit in between the rider and the wall to get around them, and just didn't even care. It was awesome. It was super awesome. And then watching the improvements of the Czech riders, the Finnish guys too. You know, these guys hadn't been riding these things very long, and suddenly they came there, and on the first practice day, I remember watching them, and one of the kids was having such a hard time in one particular position because of his riding style. But we went there, and the language barrier wasn't an issue. Everybody was talking the same language on the day. And after 1 or 2 days of practice, suddenly these guys
were best friends.
Well, they're best friends, but their improvements were huge. And suddenly they're challenging, and they're winning heats, and they're almost qualified for the final, or they made it to the final, and you're just going, it was so fun. I had so much energy. I think I ran back and forth across that track. I don't know how many times over the week. The practice days from one side to the other side, and it was so hot too, you know, and you're sweating, but you were just like the smiles on the faces. It was just, this is what it's all about. You get so inspired. And even our mechanics, they told me that working with the kids was 3 times as hard as working in a Grand Prix, because they had engines in, engines out, gear changes. so many things.
The manufacturer's there.
Big thanks to Oscar.
Yep. Oscar was quite vocal to the boys too about, okay, I want to see you take that engine out. And then just turn them loose, right? So, but I mean, Oscar, Raph, Bajo, those guys were covered. I mean, even Danny Jason, everyone was covered in dirt. Bob Hicks and the crew that was there, they were all, everybody at the end of the day, that, you know, if one of them practiced, as I remember, it was just grease and dust and, you know, just worn out after the practice.
Everyone was working as a team.
Yeah. And having a blast at the same time.
The thing was that it was so dusty because it was so hot there that I remember you coming in for one of the practice sessions just by himself. He comes in and his face is covered with dirt. Even if you're just standing on the sidelines, you're just like, whoa.
So awesome. Huh?
So awesome.
Just want to lick
The
your lips.
smell.
The final gets rained out.
And
Yeah.
that's
But what was the biggest lesson you learned?
The professionalism. It was like when I go over there and just how the guys act, how we all ride, and how all, because like over here, like there's competition, but you know, like me and Colton we were basically the number one riders. Like we'd always battle each other, but then when you go over and race with everyone that's at the same level as you, it's hard. Like you gotta ride your best. You gotta have goals. You gotta just go for it, and definitely learned that you gotta try all your best, basically.
Never give up, right?
Yeah, never give up.
I think that was the best part. You see all these kids. You saw the tears of joy. You saw the tears of defeat. You know, and you felt bad for them. I mean, Sebastian missed out by, we're talking margins, because I put it down to equipment for sure. He ended up crashing, but he was riding the you know what's out of these bikes, and the rev limiter on the thing was stopping him from going any faster, and we couldn't make the changes to the engines that we wanted to do because we weren't allowed to, right? So these guys that were in front had already done their homework. They had everything mastered, and these dudes are running right on their tails, but they can't pass them because they're just at a disadvantage. But it didn't matter. Sebastian went for it, and he was actually chasing his own teammate, Victor, at the time, and Victor was in front of him with the same issue, trying to stay in the race, and Sebastian was trying to get around them and ended up just losing it on the front wheel because the back wheel wouldn't spin anymore. He reached the peak, the rev limiter kicked in, and he ended up running into the back of Victor because he was he couldn't get the wheel to spin to bring the bike around, so he was riding on the front wheel, and collected Victor ended up crashing, and he missed the final by a point.
1 point.
1 point. So it's a lesson learned in many ways for everybody. It wasn't just all him. We couldn't fault him at all because he was like, I can do this. And he got let down. But that's what I mean. You got the tears of joy. You got the tears of defeat. And the best part about it was, if we hadn't seen those tears, we wouldn't have understood how important this event actually was for all these kids and the parents and the mechanics. And it's such an effort. You can see everybody they're up here, you know, it's just, wah! And suddenly it's like, oh, it's all over in heat, and it's time to go home. But it's life, you know, you see it in all sorts of sports, and you have the ups and downs, and you see the moms and the dads that they're so excited for their kid, and then it's like, no, what happened? And then, you know, and then it's the next thing, and the mechanics are so excited, and they're like, dude, what did you do? Why did you do that? And you're just going, oh my gosh, it's put into these kids' heads in their lifestyle at an early age. It's so rad. But yeah.
Now this year,
Good experience.
It was a good experience.
Yeah.
So what about 2018? Where do we go?
Poland. We're going to take on Poland and try to win this thing again. This year's definitely going to be a better year, I hope, because now we have more knowledge. We know we're going to have better equipment, hopefully. You're going to get everything set up. Hopefully we can get more practice in before the race and see if we can do it.
So as it is now, we have Sebastian is a confirmed competitor in the series for this year. I don't know. Is Colton confirmed yet? We haven't. It seems a lot of talk.
I don't know if we got a second spot.
Right. We've asked for it. I don't know if it's confirmed yet or not. But Colton has also started riding 500s more. So I don't know how seriously he wants to do one more year in the 250.
I know he was planning on it. I know he wants to. He has motors and everything, but
I'm so bummed that they took a spot away from us.
I know.
The American team only got one place in the championship this year. I don't know why, but it comes down to federations and their political campaigns and how they run it. But it seems a bummer. These guys put a lot of effort and a lot of time, money, and everything into the series last year, and we've only got one spot this year. So now we have to fight for a second spot. We will fight for a second spot. And what do you? What's your main ambition? Think you can win?
I think, yeah. I mean, I hope I can. I'm gonna obviously go for it. That's my goal. But I'm really just going. I'm taking it one step at a time. I'm gonna race my best semifinal and try to make it to the final. And then once I get to the final, then it's game on. I just gotta ride my hardest, twist the throttle.
I've seen him twist the throttle. He's not afraid of that.
Nah.
It's fun to watch him. I mean, the competition here is pretty tough, but he feels like the most experienced guy on the track now at this class. So watching him, sometimes he'll miss the start, and I'm not sure if he missed the start on purpose just to test himself and play with the guys and pass them or not, because some of these kids are, for them, Sebastian is their worst nightmare because they know they're good, but if he's in the heat with them, oh man, you can see they're just they make more mistakes than getting beat. And I think once they figure that out and they get the head for it, then it will be harder for Sebastian. But on these small tracks, it's tough. It's not all about just the equipment. It's about the riding the bike. And for sure, he's got the talent for it. But in my opinion, he's got the head. We won't talk about the gumball though.
No.
Until next week.
Until next week.
That's right. No pressure.
We'll have a follow-up podcast about this, like after gumball.
After the gumball.
That's right.
It's over.
Maybe we should just talk about the tugumi.
Oh,
The Swedish gumball. Tugumi. It's definitely he'll be watching.
what are you doing in the spare time? Is it all about speedway or?
Basically, yeah, I'm going to have golf, obviously. I'm at practice every day and then get home, work on the bikes. I mean, I don't really do I ride BMX, I have some fun at the skate parks and everything, but when it comes down to the racing season, I don't like to do too many things because, one, I don't have time, and then two, I don't want to get hurt, obviously. And I'm just trying to stay healthy, but I also try to exercise, do all that stuff, and, stay small, or hopefully, and, get in shape.
Oh, so it's all about speedway then.
Yes.
In a way, but I like the fact that he plays golf. I think that's...
No one really expects it. I go from riding speedway and, in the dirt and getting dirty and everything to playing golf. Obviously you wouldn't see that.
I think that's where he gets the head from.
Oh, yeah.
Because golf is, as Tanny and I were talking about this earlier too. I mean, golf, he's a very low handicap golf player, where my handicap in golf is the golf club. But anyway, if you're a good golfer, you have to have the head. And even to play off a 7 or 8 handicap like Tanny, you still have to have a good head. And it's not just about killing the ball, right? It's
right.
It's just you and that little white ball.
Right. There isn't any shot in golf that's ever the same. Not one. Because the conditions are always different. And to make a golf ball do what you want it to do after you hit it is an amazing thing. Sebastian is left-handed. He writes left-handed, but he plays golf right-handed. I don't know how he does that, but some people say that's natural. And he's never had a lesson yet. He doesn't have any time to have lessons, but he goes out and he's on the junior varsity team. He's a freshman in high school, and he's on the junior varsity team.
Wow.
He plays pretty good. He hit the ball a mile. He just has to control it now, and he's a great putter. That's what's good. He's a great putter.
Yeah.
That's what mine is.
It's not just speedway stuff.
Oh, you got it.
And it's competitive, and he stays competitive. he's a competitive guy. He likes to do things, but he's not crazy about it. You'd never think he was competitive just by looking at him.
So is that with everything you do? Everything you try, you just wanted to be best?
Basically, I'm not. It doesn't have It doesn't have to turn out to be the best, but I'm always going to try my best with everything I do.
Can you hear the age of this guy? He's 14.
Yeah, it's
and you can see the look in his eye too, huh? He's got the competitive eye, and no matter what happens, he'll stop and listen and watch and learn and then to go back to what he's doing. But you can see he never takes his eye off the ball.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, he's a great student. Yeah, he's a great student. He learns very well. I remember back at IMS Speedway with the Billy Hamill school and then Sean McConnell, and they tell him to do something and he'd immediately go out there and do it exactly how they tell him to do it. So he has that unique ability to absorb it, process it, and then produce it, no matter what he's doing. I can't wait to get him some golf lessons.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But if you should have some advice to younger guys, what should that be if they wanted to be best in Speedway or whatever?
Never give up. They're going to crash. They're going to try something. It's not going to work. You just got to keep trucking. Just keep going hard. Keep twisting the throttle. Keep going for it, basically. I mean, that's what I did. Like, I crashed in practice. I kept going. I've gotten hurt. I've tried to learn things that I couldn't do. And still, like, there's so many different factors that play into riding a Speedway bike that there's really not one certain way to ride it because everyone has a different riding style, obviously. But just be comfortable, like, learn everything and just keep going.
Sounds easy.
It looks so easy, Speedway, when you're in the stands and watching these guys. It's like poetry in motion sometimes, and
just like golf.
Yeah, just like golf. Yeah.
Sorry.
And then after the races, you go down and you say, "Boy, it looks real easy." You go down and look at the track. You look at the starting line, and all you see are these deep grooves. And you say, "How do they even ride on this?" And then the track. You look at it, you look at that decomposed granite on there, and it's so hard sometimes. I'm saying, I hardly walk on that stuff, let alone ride on it. These guys are nuts. I don't know how they do it. But I'd love to have that feeling just once.
Yeah.
To go around the Speedway track, like Sebastian or Greg.
We can make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just asked for that, didn't he?
Did.
I guess I could try it.
Yeah.
Jason could make a bike for me.
That's right, yeah.
Put training wheels on the back.
I'm a dresser with training wheels.
He can come and do it when you do it, Stefan.
Oh yeah, we should do it together.
Okay, Stefan. That's a deal. That's a deal. I'm 72. How old are you?
Let's not talk about that.
Oh.
14.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
Celsius.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Celsius. 14.
Something that, I should say about stories of like how I look up to Sebastian. It's when me and Dad went out practicing the other day, I was having troubles by like, I couldn't ride the bike hard. I would just like enter it because Paris, we were out there and the track's so long, I can ride it like, oh, it's super easy. But you gotta hug the pole. If you want to stay in front, you gotta hug the pole on those little bikes. And Dad said, just ride it hard. I was like, okay. I went up there and I kept doing the same thing. And I was like, ride it like Sebastian. And I was like, oh, okay. And that's something that I really want to do, like ride like him, because it's unbelievable. His style, his mental, like, there's no words, like.
That's cool, huh? Like he's a mentor at 14.
Yeah, that's really
By the way, Wilbur's last race at Paris Speedways, he just blew away the competition. It was a big win.
It was nice.
Huge.
It was really fun.
Huge.
Felt good, huh?
Huge.
And that was a lot of that comes down to Dad finally stepping up. And when we come back to equipment, then we're like we're doing with these guys, with the 252, trying to do what we can, but finally stepped it up, and we got a good motor from the PAX Racing guys, and gave Wilbur something, because it was even Lance King that said to me, he's like, dude, when are you going to buy your kids some equipment? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, come on, it's pretty obvious. I'm like, oh, okay. But thanks to the Faulkner family and the Pax Racing, they set him up.
Big things.
So he's in the game now.
Oh, that's good.
Dad had to step it up.
Well, me and Sweden, we had half the year figuring out what we're going to do, like how to get speed.
And we never did.
Nah, really.
I got to give up on that thing that I think I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Switching ignitions. Should we try rev limiters, carburetors?
All that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
Have you dreamt of being a world champion?
Yes, definitely. 250s and 500s. Obviously, that's like the biggest, or I don't know, like GPs are the highest level you can definitely get to, and then obviously winning the world championship is you're the best rider in the world for that 1 year. You're on it. You got good equipment. You got great mind and just experience. And yeah, that's what I'm dreaming of. Make it there.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
It's good to hear.
So how far away is it? 4, 5 years?
I don't know. I can't. I mean, hopefully, what my plans is like after I ride 500s, maybe a year or two in America. Hopefully, like I can go to like England or Sweden or maybe sign with a team over there or a league after some riding over here, after some practicing, getting used to the 500, like Max Rummel and Gino Manzares and all them.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, just keep riding over there, do good in the leagues, and then hopefully work my way up to like elite league. And then if I can make it all the way to there, then obviously try my hardest and ride in the GPs.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, he's got a plan, he's got a goal, and hopefully the first world championship's only a few months away. So
Right. We start in Gdansk on July 2nd. The final is on July 4th in Turin. So Turin is kind of a track I think would favor Sebastian.
Wow.
It's American. It's the American Independence Day, so I mean, it's all America there.
Yeah.
the final's on the 4th of July. I mean,
Finals
there's no bigger
July.
day of the year for us.
Let's go.
Again, no pressure, bro.
You won't beat it.
No, I know. I
You're
won't.
gonna be in Sweden.
Yeah, we'll be in the Grand Prix the same day in Sweden. So
That's all your Grand Prix right there, 4th of July. No pressure.
that's right.
No pressure.
He put it right back on me. That was good.
Oh,
That was good.
That was good.
Even though
Actually,
it's a Grand Prix, it's a Grand Prix in Sweden.
The day after.
I really want to try to be in Turin for the finals, because even though I've been to so many Grand Prix and I really want to be in Turin, so hopefully I can grab a flight or save my money and put it in my piggy bank and
That's it.
get a flight over there.
And Wilbur got nominated for
Yeah.
from the American team, from the American Federation too, to do they're having the 125 youth championships in Europe, the FIM championships in France this year, and Wilbur got the nomination to do that. So
Wow.
now we're putting our efforts into a 125 engine to get him up to speed with that. So I'm sure our friends at PAX are going to get another phone call really soon and get him up there. So he's got a shot at chasing this. It's not a world championship at this level
Youth Gold
yet.
Trophy.
It's just the youth
How
Gold
the 250 was last year or 2 years ago.
how it was. So we're pretty excited. You can see Sebastian is kind of set the bar. So Wilbur's he wants to go there and at least emulate what Sebastian's been doing, and now he gets to take it up to an international level too. It's gonna be pretty fun.
Really cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It was pretty funny because when I was in Prague, I was like, I was so ready to go race the 250s. I'm like, I really want to do it. And I was like, why can't they just make a 125? Please, just next year. I still want to do it. And that phone call that you got or the email when you told me that I'm nominated for it, I was like, no way. It's a dream come true now.
It's super cool. So it's neat that the FIM has got this stepping stone touch to it now. So you got the 125 class, the 250, and then you go to the Grand Prix.
They're paying more attention to us younger riders.
Yeah, they've seen. I mean, they have to, and they can see that this is a growing segment in the sport, which is great. The only bummer is that the schedules aren't always working out perfect. So this year we got a big clash of schedules with Grand Prix the same weekend as the 250. The 125 is a little bit different, but the 250, this is going to be tough for us to be there ourselves. So we have to rearrange and have logistics set up with the mechanics and transport stuff for these guys so they can be in Poland on the days leading up to our Grand Prix in Sweden, which is on the Saturday, the day after your final. But yeah, we got a little bit of work to do. But,
yeah,
it'll happen. It'll happen.
That's good.
We're not afraid of a little work.
No, that's good.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I have you got any more questions there from your side, Stefan?
No, I don't think so. I think that we are 45 seconds ready, or?
I think so. Yeah. You've listened to every single podcast, right?
Not every single one, no.
Yeah, you have. Right? Sure, of course you have.
Of course I have, yes.
So are you familiar with our 45 seconds? No? Okay, so we have a point in the podcast at the end where it's all about 45 for us, right?
Of course.
45 live.
The cool thing is that I was told by Steve Lucero many, many years ago that to have a winning number, your numbers, no matter if you're 1 digit, 2 digits, 3 digits, it's all about the number 9. So if your digits add up to 9, you're on a winner. So Mike Faria was always number 9. He won some championships. Steve Lucero was number 18.
Mine, yeah.
It was 9. 45, it adds up to 9. And your number
18.
That adds up to 9. Wilbur is number 117.
Oh, that's
That adds up to 9. You never thought about that? So,
No.
And Wilbur took number 117 out of the blue, 6 or 7 years
That's
ago.
crazy.
Yeah,
And I
because
was
the
like,
PB that we bought, it
whoa,
was
it's all about
17.
9. It's all about the 9. You know, everybody has their things, and Steve Lucero still says it today. It's all about the 9. It's all about the 9. So
I've never heard you say that.
no, I just had to throw that in there. What's your number, Stefan?
I don't have a number, I think. 9.
Right? Not like 10 minus 1 or something.
Something like that.
101.
Gotcha. Anyway, so we got off the subject, but I just wanted to throw that in there. 45 seconds. In 45 seconds, you can either tell us something about Sebastian Palmese that we don't already know or we learned in this podcast, or we rapid fire as many questions as we can to you in 45 seconds, and you have to just give an answer what comes off the top of your head.
What are they, random questions, or are they related to Speedway?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I'm gonna go with rapid fire.
Oh.
I think so.
You
Okay.
think he wants that?
No, I think you want to say something about yourself then.
No, you think so?
Yeah, we want to hear something that we haven't asked you that nobody knows about.
Let's think here.
Do you have anything? We can do the questions too. But
Yeah, we have questions ready for you. We just want to. We give everybody the
I'm
option.
trying to think of at least like one thing.
cool.
You can do both if you want, but we kind of give everybody the option, and it's been pretty fun.
What do people usually do? Like rapid fire, or
It's different, huh?
Mhm.
Some
Yeah.
people, and you know what? Sometimes you, depending on the podcast, you'll find something about somebody, and you're like, tell us. I mean, Joe Parsons, right?
Yeah.
Joe has done a lot in his lifetime, and there's still so much nobody knows about Joe, even us, of course. But he has something interesting that he can throw out at you. Chris Holder was another one. You know, it's like you just don't know. You got all these. Everybody's got their thing. But and if it doesn't come to mind, we'll go rapid fire.
yeah, I can't think of anything.
We can do the questions.
Pop, 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 pop. Dang, let's do it. All right, we'll do it.
Yeah.
You want me to fire the questions?
Yeah, do that.
Okay, so
I'm ready with
Yeah. Stefan is okay. Yeah, he's our timer guy.
Gotta hold the.
Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Cool. 3, 2, 1, go.
Donald Trump or Stefan Janelle?
Stefan Janelle.
Yeah.
What childish thing do you still enjoy?
Watching kids' TV shows.
What movie can you watch over and over and over and never get tired of?
Dumb and Dumber.
What video game do you wish life was more like?
GTA.
No.
What were you really into when you were younger, but now you think is silly?
Baseball.
What's the most useless thing you know how to do?
Juggle.
How many phones have you broken or lost?
1.
What are you tired of hearing about?
Yeah.
Oh, there kids
Tough
are.
one.
You gotta answer that.
You gotta answer it though.
Um,
What are you tired of hearing about?
Something that comes up all the time on the news or something. Never know.
the Gumball Rally.
Well, you can end that this weekend.
Yeah,
You can end that right here.
That's the only thing I want to hear about. That's the only thing I want to hear about. That'll be the thing. Well, that was cool.
That was really cool.
He was pretty quick on the questions too. He was.
That's what I should say.
I'm still trying to think of something that no one knows. I don't know.
You can save that for the.
Maybe you were
for the
like an
recap.
artist. And
I'm a professional Fortnite gamer.
hey, there.
Professional what?
Fortnite gamer
Yeah, I became professional yesterday
Did you?
with my friend
on the console.
on a console.
Oh, you guys are so
Yeah,
professional.
we played Fortnite till 9 o'clock last night, or probably 10 o'clock last night. We were on it. Oh yeah, by the way, we suck at the game. We just have fun playing it because we're doing some tons of random dumb
I'm
stuff.
professional.
Oh, you're oh, okay.
So can you be a professional still stuck at the game?
Oh yeah.
A professional sucker.
It's like
Sucker.
Uh,
Well, Tanny,
Yes, sir.
thank you for taking time out of your day. We should probably throw this in there. Tanny he's, to have your grandfather, to have your parents, to have your sponsors and all those kind of people around you, it's priceless. And this guy he's a pretty amazing individual, and he's a great father, and he's a great grandfather, and just a great person overall. So we've become, I want to say, pretty decent friends in a short period that we've got to know each other. And it's very easy with these guys, as you can hear just with this podcast. But he's a big supporter of this kid and what his kids do all around. And you'll start to see Tanny, you'll probably pay more attention to some of the things that he does. And we should probably just have Tanny on the show one day and hear his story. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's all right.
It's long.
Hey, we're all ears. We're all ears. And Sebastian, buddy, we wish you all the very, very best.
Thank you very much.
We're
It's been an honor.
Likewise, it's an honor for us, and we're gonna pump the heck out of you and tell people how great of a person you are. But I think they already know that after this podcast, and it is to add to it. So thanks again, buddy, for your time. You guys getting up early to come and join us. Stefan, thanks for making it happen, being there, waiting for us. And he's rocking the grin hat today.
And the Ascot sweatshirt.
And the Ascot sweatshirt. He's on the other side. We can still see him online, which is the beauty of our technology today. Thanks, Wilbur.
yeah.
I think we should just throw another round of applause for Sebastian and Tanny.
Jason over there.
Yeah, Jason. So, well, everybody, Stefan, it's another 45 podcast.
Thanks again for listening, everybody. And be sure to tune in next week for another podcast. And listen to the Reel45 podcast on Podbean, iTunes, Acast. Be sure to follow us, share us, and rate us. And add some comments there. It should really help us, I think. And also be sure to follow us, like us, and share us on Reel45 Podcast on iTunes and Facebook, I think. So have an awesome day. And thank you, Green.
Hey, thank you too, man. Have a great one. See ya, you guys. Grin to win. Keep it sideways. First
Yay!
Hey.
Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Palmese1, and
Oh yeah, and Wilhan117 on Instagram and all of that.
It's all about the number 9.
Be sure to follow them too. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Welcome to Reel 45 with Stefan and Greg Hancock. We vibe out and have real talk, so tune in and check this out. Yeah, today is a new day. Let's seize it now and get hype. We talking about our careers, our family, and just life. Yeah, share my story with you. Inspiration like every day. Real 45, we gon' keep it live. I keep episodes on replay. Hey, Real 45, yeah, Real 45. Show them how we do it, man. Yeah.